Hello, my name is Brian Galebuck, and I will be a guest commentator in this video for Dweebovision. I am a North American Scrabble expert, and in this video, I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully, this will help to improve your game and be fun to watch. I will be playing this game with the North American Tournament word list and the double challenge rule, in which a lost challenge results in a loss of turn. The game is just about to start, so let's join the action. Alright, it's my opponent to go first. I have the blank, which is great. I also have a Q, and I have an A to go with it, so I could play cot or cannot. So that would be a good high-scoring word if it plays on the board, which will also clean up my rack, allowing me to bingo on the next turn. So an okay start here. I'm going to use the finger command to see if there's anything interesting about my opponent. No information whatsoever, so this could be anyone. Number of unfinished games, medium. Hopefully this game will play to its completion. Alright, my opponent gets a bingo immediately. Now, I'd like to play cot or cannot. And I'm looking at where I could play that. I could play cot here, or on row I for 29, or I could play cannot here for 28. This leaves PA blank, which is good. This leaves NAP blank. Not sure which is better. This scores 29 points. I have an I and an E floater. I like keeping the N, and I like the extra point, so we're going to go with this. Now I'm just looking real quick, making sure there isn't a higher scoring play. I think this is fine. Do I want to play it here or on this row? TA takes a lot of back letter placements, so maybe I want to do that, because I am going to look for getting a bingo. Let's do this. Alright. Looks like I should be able to get a bingo now. Polenta is a kind of stew that would play here on row G. Trying to look at if I make this an S, what do I have? Espanol or nopales. Alright, and those would both play here in column 11, getting that word doubled, so that's a good option. I wonder if there's something through the AT. I normally don't look for nines, but in this case, that would be a double-double if I had it starting at the right place. I have bean pull through an E. I'm just going to, with a pencil, I'm just making a note of some of these that I'm seeing so I don't forget them. Alright, so nopales and Espanol do not play here below QI, and an N does not hook this as it does in Collins. Nothing hooks in the triple lane. How long do I look for a 9? Not too long. If I see something really quickly, I'm going to go with it. Alright. I have studied some nines, but I don't see them very quickly during game time yet, and with just 20 minutes I don't want to take too long. I think I'm going to go right away with Espanol, or I could do nopales. I like that. That doesn't put anything next to a premium square. Alright, and that is, oh, but hastier doesn't take an S. Okay, so that's not smart. So instead, let's try and find a word that maybe plays parallel to hastier. Alright, there's a lot of possibilities for parallelism here. Now I did notice polenta, not too defensive in that it goes into the triple lane. I could play bean pole. It's only 61 points. Polenta, 71. That's a lot better. Okay, let's just look really quickly what other bingos I can find up with. Conapatl through a T. That puts a C in the triple lane. Anglepod through a G. Oh, there's a Pentoffel. These are not scoring a lot, though. I almost need to put, Antelope also through an E. Again, placing a letter in the triple lane. How many points am I willing to sacrifice to avoid the triple lane? Jalapeno would be possible through an A. I don't have an A possible. Alright, I don't want to spend too much time at this point in the game. Espinol plays here, does it not? Oh, that's good, and that's 76 points, and it's more defensive. Only bad thing here is it places an O here. I'm willing to take that chance for this score. Okay. Alright, I have some duplicates. Looks close to affidavit or something, but that is not possible with these letters. Now, I have a V or an F goes here. I could play something like VAT or FAT. That would be good. If this spot stays open here, what four-letter play can I do? F, A. Unfortunately, I don't have a four-letter play seemingly that goes to this triple word square. The score is close. I'm just 7 points behind my opponent with my opponent on turn. Alright, I'm hoping that my opponent gets a medium score here, allowing me to play something like VAT or FAT. Looking where else I can score. PE takes it back D that I have, but then I would have trouble playing parallel here with only having an A. Where do my A's go? An A would fit here, making aha. I could play VAT here. That would score 19 points and clean up my rack somewhat. VAT here is better if I can. That's 32 points, leaving daft. Could play tab. Well, that's the same score as VAT. Looking what I might be able to play through AT, I'm not seeing anything great there. Now I could play daft for 37 points. I was looking only at putting the F there before, but a D works as well. Alright, my opponent has lost contact or quit. I'm going to wait the 3 minutes to see if my opponent comes back. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video while I wait these 3 minutes. Stand by. Opponent has returned. So hopefully my opponent will make a play. Gets your, which is a good score for my opponent, 44 points. Now, I was looking at VAT here. That's going to get extra points now from the OY. I get 36 points for that, so I'm going to make that play immediately. All right, I'm not picking up any vowels here. That's a little annoying, but I have the J for scoring if I can find a good scoring spot for it. Now my opponent is playing extremely quickly. Alright. Well, I only have an A as a vowel. Alright. Looking at where I can even make any plays, it might make sense for me to trade at this point. If I can't play the J for any kind of reasonable score, and if just having one vowel is very limiting to my possibilities, it may make more sense for me to trade. Now, I could play Raj here for 26 points. However, I have all consonants. Well, I might want to take the 26 points now, hope to draw some vowels, and then if I can draw some vowels, I could play through this rack. If I pick no vowels, then I can trade on my next turn. I like doing that. 26 points is a reasonable score. Could I have a comparable score playing tiles other than the J? I'm not seeing how. Well, var takes a back A. PE takes a back D. I could play something like, not much here. Dal for 21, and that uses my vowel. I don't like that. Well, Raj also uses my vowel. Well, I'm going to go with Raj and hope that I can draw some vowels. All right, I draw an O, which goes well, especially with the W, which I also just drew. All right, W goes above N. A W would also go here. I could do something like WAD. That uses 2 consonants and scores 24 points. Not a bad option. O, I have an O for going after the J, but I don't have any way to reach the triple word square. All right, sleazy, a high-scoring play by my opponent. Now, what do I have that goes before the A? I have the F, but then only having an O doesn't give me a way to play parallel. What can I do from the Y here? Not much. I could do something like oft for 23 points. I prefer keeping my vowel. Going for WAD. Another thing that's good about WAD is that it uses the duplicated D, so I'm helping clean that up. Let's do that. All right, now we're getting closer to a bingo-y looking rack. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like a bingo yet. Now, an important bingo lane to consider here is row 15. With ED, there's a lot of verbs that can end ED. Also, some adjectives that are not verbs also end in ED. Now, I don't see a word that I can play right now going to ED, so I'm going to look to try to clean up this rack as quickly as I can. All right, MIM for 20 points. Now, that takes a back E. I don't have a back E. All right. Now I still could do oft, just like last time, for 23 points, leaving DILS. Not a fantastic leave. I don't think any leave I have is going to be fantastic. Okay, just scanning the board here, looking for scoring opportunities. Raj takes a back A. I don't have a back A. Looking MY, do I have a 6-letter place starting MY? I don't believe so. All right. I might want to go for oft. My opponent is playing pretty quickly at this point. Perhaps because maybe my opponent lost a lot of time when the disconnection happened. So that could be the reason for the quick play. Also, easy plays makes it easier to play fast. I kind of like oft. Let's make this play. All right, that is not a good pickup. I do get another S. Duplicated S's is not a huge problem, but the I and the U is not great on top of what I already had. All right. So trying to get rid of a U and an I, how can I do that? Well, if I can't find any reasonable scoring plays, perhaps I might want to exchange at this point. What would I keep if I exchanged? There are plenty of E's remaining, 4 I's remaining in the bag. All right, LO doesn't take any letters in back that I have. All right, bingo for my opponent. I'm trailing by 100 points. All right, now there are some floaters to consider, but with my rack clunkiness, I can't really do a lot. Now, how can I clean up this rack and score and leave the board open? I would like to use a U and an I. I could play 2E for only 6 points. That's not a good enough leave to consider doing such a low scoring play. Now I could play to take out this triple lane, but I'm not going to get many points to do it. I'm just not seeing how to get really many points anywhere. Well, I could use now, I do have an extra S, so I could use an S. Trying to figure out how to use an S and an I and a U. I'd have sweet if I had one more. No, I don't have an E, so I can't even do that. All right, I think I am going to make an exchange. So I'm going to change. I'm going to use the change command. I'm going to trade everything except for, what do I want to keep? Maybe an I and an S? I don't know. Looking at what's in the bag, is that particularly bingo-y? Not really. Maybe I should be using my S to try to get some points. I could do something like, well, LO, I don't have anything that goes in back of LO, though, is a problem. I don't have letters that go really well anywhere. I think I'm going to trade as many tiles as I can and just hope to pick up some better tiles. I'm going to just keep just an S. And I'm putting them on the board there. That would be a bad mistake. All right. All right, well, that's an excellent. All right, so do I have censored? C-E-N-S-O-R-E-D. No, that's just an 8. But I do have that right now in row O if it does not get blocked. Now, what I really want to do is see if I can find a play from 15A. Do I have a verb that will take an ED on the end? Well, I already have a D, though. Let's see. Encoders. Well, encoders is a alternative to censored. All right. I wonder, do I have something through the I? That looks promising. I'm expecting that my opponent is likely to take this triple lane, in which case I'm going to have to try to find a bingo elsewhere. Looks like I have to go through. Now, MY takes a C. So do I have something with the T? Okay, so I'm just going to type this down here, CDENORST. That doesn't look like a bingo. It looks close to note cards, which would be a 9. How about with the I? CDEINORS. That looks promising, but I'm not seeing a word. All right, the E remains available. So I think I'm going to go right away for either encoders, ENCODERS. All right, or censored. Censored is going to be more points. That has the negative effect, though, of, well, let's see how much these score. That's 89 points, or 86 points. So I could take a 3-point sacrifice by playing here. The advantage of this play, though, is it keeps the board open more, and I do want an open board because I'm still trailing by quite a bit. So I think I'm going to go for encoders. Now, just really quickly, I want to make sure I'm not missing a triple. Okay, censored. Wait, seconder. All right, also scores 86. That's less open than encoders. There's 4, starting with C, E, N, and S, I remembered for this. So I found sensors, encoders, necrost. That's another one. Necros. Okay, so that's, again, more board closing. The least board closing one is encoders. All right, that goes right here. And I'm going to make this play, even though it's a little lower scoring, because it's the most board opening, encoders. All right, that's a pretty good pull from the bag. Now, this doesn't look like a bingo right now, so how can I make a play? All right, my opponent is trying to close that down. There's not much I'm going to be able to do to reopen this area of the board, so I might just want to go for points here. And this ED is still open. Now, I would like to try to open up the top of the board also, but I do need to keep scoring as well. All right, K takes it back, A or I. Looking for a 4-letter play ending in A or I. Not sure I'm seeing anything there. An O goes here between L, O, and K. Not seeing much there. Let's see how I can open up the top of the board. That's going to be pretty important. Now, I don't have anything that goes in front of you, but I could just make a play, maybe going down to the N or the U. And I can't take too much time. 17 tiles remaining. I have 5 minutes remaining on my clock. Looking at what's in the bag, does that help me figure out what to keep? I want to keep the most bingo-y tiles. If I could use maybe the G and the O. The G is not fantastic on this board. Could do something like, well, I almost have ING. All right. Could do pion. Do I want to keep, that's kind of consonant heavy. All right, now I'm using too much time. Let's try to diagon. That's still kind of consonant heavy. But leaves me a G to play through and an A. Doesn't score many points, only 10. Can I play to the B? I could play glob. That's a better leave and scores 14 points. Let's do this play. All right, now I'm still keeping an eye out for ED. I'm not seeing a verb that goes to ED. I have duplicated A, duplicated R. If I could clean this up a little bit, I do have a chance at getting a bingo to the ED. Looking very quickly through the two floaters I created, through the L, I don't see a word. Through the G, not seeing a word through the G. All right. Now, Pareiras. P-A-R, Pareiras. E-I-R-A-S, I believe is a bingo. So if my opponent would have placed an A in the open, I could have had a bingo. Now, my opponent has passed, so what I want to do is use my duplicates and try to get... Now, my opponent has probably passed some ugly stuff into the bag, so the bag may be less nice than even what it appears. I would like to use the P and the A if I can. I would like to score some points. Where can I score points? A P fits here. I would like to use an R and an A, not a P and an A, because I have a duplicated R. I'd like to use the R. Perry is a word. Unfortunately, A doesn't go here anymore. Raja is still available. Okay, so I can do R for 13 points with a great leave. All right, now I drew an I. Still looking at this ED, not seeing anything there, but do I have something through the L or the G? Duplicated I is not great. I'd like to try to get rid of the I if I can. I see if I had the L and the G, I might have plagiarize. Re-win for 27 points, a good score for my opponent. I'd like to use maybe the P and the I. That seems pretty good. Or maybe just an I. Keeping praise is an excellent leave. I am going all out for a bingo at this point. That's the only thing that's going to get me back in the game. I do need to try to keep scoring, though, if I can. Almost out of time. Where can I use the I that doesn't block the board? I opens a bingo lane for hooking the I. I could play also something like Perry uses too many letters, but scores 28 points. I do need to stay in touch, so even if I get a bingo, I can win. Do I use the extra tiles doing Perry? I might have to chance it. Okay. Plus, I'm running low on time. Dialogues. No, that doesn't fit. U doesn't take anything that I have. One tile left in the bag. I want to use dialogue. I want to get a bingo ending in ED. What tile should I get rid of to best do that? Diagnosed. If I could pick D-I-A-G-N-O-S-E-D. If I could pick the N, I have diagnosed. So that gives me a chance. Let's see. Anything else? Well, what else could I get rid of? I think let's do that and shoot for diagnosed. Unfortunately, my opponent will be able to block it if he sees what I have. This is the only chance I can see to have a chance to win. I'm going to take a chance. I don't pick the N. I pick a T. I don't see a verb ending in ED with this set of letters. If I had an R to play through, I'd have gorditas. There are no floaters on this board. Now, the T goes below the U. Just looking really quickly, do I have... I do not have a 7-letter bingo. All right. And there's no R on my opponent's rack, so I'm not going to magically get an R for gorditas. Well, I got pretty close to finding an ED bingo, but not quite. So close but no cigar in this one. Again, I have no E's. I didn't have many E's during this game. Well, I did have some. I had one in encoders and one in Perry. Alright, so just looking around the board, what can I do? I won't have much time to play. I could play something like at. D goes here. I could play OD, odd. My opponent's taking a while on this turn, probably just making sure I'm not going to get a bingo. I'm not going to have a bingo, and I think my opponent will be able to figure that out before too long. Alright, so OD is my best play right now. I could play at here. Should I be trying to play off more tiles and go out in 2? My opponent needs to make sure they can use the V. That plays right now here, making van. Alright, also has an E for going after glob, making globe. Alright, just continuing to look around the board here. Alright, if my opponent takes a lot longer, I may pause the video and resume when my opponent makes a play. Alright, my opponent takes that spot. So, what can I do? I could play at for 13 points. Alright. Alright, dip. Well, no, DI is not valid in our lexicon. I could play something like dig here. Oh, that's 15 points, so I could have done that last turn. Or dog. Alright, but at this point I'm a little deflated in that I didn't get the bingo, so my brain is not working at full speed. Now I have SI remaining. I could play gurus and C or is. That's the end of the game. I'm going to pass, and well done to my opponent. Alright, so the final score is 387 points to me, 455 points to my opponent, a winning margin of 68 points. So well done to my opponent. Let's examine the game. and see what I missed. All right, so my opponent starts off with bingo. Nice way to start a game. And here I could play Kanat or Kot. I considered both. I chose Kot for keeping, getting an extra point and keeping an AP blank. So keeping the low point N, which is a good bingoing tile. And here, Espanol is my highest play. I found that play, so I considered that right away. Didn't spot this better placement until later, so glad to spot that spot. Here I could play Vat. That was my play. Here I could have played Fjeld. That would have been a good way to get rid of some consonants. At 15F, so 16 points, not a good score. Instead, I played Raj for 26, a second choice of the computer, but leaving no vowels. And that did leave me in a little bit of with an inflexible rack situation. So hard to know what's better there. That's maybe one you would want to simulate. All right. Here I could play Wad. That was my play for 24, keeping my sole consonant. All right. Here I could play Oft. That was my play. Well, I'm feeling good here. I'm making a lot of the top choices of the computer. So, my SIDS. So I was trying to figure out a play that goes down to the triple. So this is my first significant miss of the game. That uses both S's, but scores 39 points. So a good score. Instead, I exchange. Well, getting 39 points is definitely better than exchanging, even if you use both S's there. 39 points. That would have been pretty nice. Although I am looking to try to bingo. Now, it would be nice if the computer could also tell you some of its best exchange possibilities. The computer does not consider, this particular computer does not consider exchanges, so I'm not really sure that exchanging everything except for the S is a good exchange, but I drew a great rack. I drew the censored, encoders, necrost, and seconder, and the computer is showing all four of those, and those were the only bingo, so I'm happy that I considered all four of those, and I chose encoders on purpose because it kept this lane open. Now, my opponent smartly closed that down right away. Now, what can I do with this? Now, Lipa. All right. Was I trying to consider four-letter plays going to the K? I think I was, and I don't think I saw any, which is poor. Learning your fours is important. But I did have another consideration, which was keeping the top half or making the top half of the board open as well. So here I took a point sacrifice to open the top half of the board. And I am within about a bingo, so this is not obviously inferior to making a 28-point play at this point. My opponent exchanged, had a lot of vowels there. Now here, what can I do? I could the para for 28. What was the play that I made? I just played AR. I'm going all out for getting a bingo either through the G or the L or playing to the ED. So rather than making this and using more letters, I used fewer letters going directly for the bingo. I don't believe it worked here. I could have played Palier. I don't think that's a great play because that uses too many letters and brings around a quick end to the game immediately. I don't want to do that when I'm trailing. I want to use fewer tiles. Here I did bail out and played Parry for 28 points, if only to keep within scoring touch, but that did have the effect of kind of wrecking my leave, and now I don't have any bingos. I went all out trying to get the N, which would have given me, what bingo did I diagnosed? So if I could have drawn the N, but unfortunately my opponent does have the N. And here, So here I could have played meiotic. Oh, I see. A back hook to KIBE, which I did not consider, 25 points. Mystic also for 25 points. So those were a lot better than AT. But in any case, I didn't have a winning play, so I didn't miss a win in this game. So not a terrible miss. At this point, I could have done dolls for 18. I did dog for 15, and my opponent played out. So that's the end of the game. Well, so not sure quite what was interesting about that game. I gave myself a chance at the very end. If I could have drawn an N, if I didn't block, and if my opponent didn't block it, I could have had a bingo here playing to the ED. I was trying the whole game. This was just a difficult game. When your opponent bingos at the very beginning, you can just have a game where you're kind of trailing the whole game. I did miss some higher scoring plays from the MY, so important to keep those in mind. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this and that I hope you got something valuable out of it. Thank you for watching. My name is Brian Galebuck, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.